Hey guys, Zane here with another One Take review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Black Thought and Danger Mouse album, Cheat Codes. Cheat Codes is the latest studio album from rapper Black Thought, as well as producer Danger Mouse. An album like Cheat Codes has kind of been in the realm of rumor for a very long time. There have been whispers for years now about The Roots and Danger Mouse collaborating, or just Black Thought himself and Danger Mouse collaborating, but it just never really seemed super realistic. I mean, Black Thought was busy captaining The Roots, and Danger Mouse has always been one of the most highly requested producers in the music industry, especially within hip-hop, so it just seemed like this was two different artists with too much on their plates to really ever properly work together, but here we are, it's 2022 and Cheat Codes actually exists. I suppose it makes sense. The Roots are on hiatus, and it's been a few years since the last noteworthy Danger Mouse project, which was his 2019 entanglement with Karen O, so it kind of makes sense that this actually is able to exist now, and it was finally just the precise moment where Cheat Codes could be birthed into the world and finally be allowed to exist in a full-length format. So I have to say that this is not only a pleasant surprise from a likeliness of happening standpoint, but also just a fantastic record overall. Cheat Codes has attached to it an MC who has gone from being a hip-hop head's favorite to an absolute legend within the realm of hip-hop in general. I mean, Black Thought is arguably one of the most definitive rappers of the past 30 years. His throat-grabbing performance style is largely unmatched, and even the weakest projects that he's featured on, whether it be one of the lesser Roots albums or a feature on a track from another artist that simply isn't that great, he usually at least has a line or two to spit here or there that is at least solid and makes him stand out a bit more than the majority of the competition. That isn't to mention his actual lyrical ability, which bounces between the gut-punching serious nature of tracks like Identical Deaths to the more energy-focused numbers like Belize. Willing to pull references ranging from Harry Potter to Thelonious Monk out of his pocket, Black Thought is an outstanding songwriter who is very self-aware in terms of where he is in the realm of hip-hop, and he is also very aware of the culture that surrounds him both musically and societally, and the fact that he is aware of how skilled of a songwriter he is, allowing himself to further develop these skills and demonstrate them to their fullest extent, makes it all the better. Even though Black Thought is spitting enough bars to overshadow your average everyday producer, Danger Mouse never falls behind, but then again, Brian Burton has never actually been your average everyday behind-the-scenes intellectual type. He's always been one of the most standout beatmakers within the industry. He brings with him to Cheat Codes the style that many of his fans and his following have associated him with, meaning that anyone familiar with his previous works, whether it be the MF Doom collaboration, The Mouse and the Mask, or his influences even like J Dilla, will be familiar and easily be able to predict what is featured here. That is a production and beatmaking style with a reliance on hypnotically old-school aesthetics that really does stand out and shine, even with the idea of allowing the rapper to stand out more than the instrumental being directly ingrained into Danger Mouse's mind, but that's kind of what makes him such an important part of this record. Sure, his instrumentals are definitely something that defines the overall sound and sonic qualities of the album, but more importantly, they allow themselves to stand out away from Black Thought, which allows, in turn, Black Thought himself to stand out in his verses. They feel like two entirely different artists, which leads to the question of how smoothly they manage to flow together and what kind of chemistry they have, and that's really the most important question that you can ask here, especially on a collaborative album such as this. Thankfully, the two work extraordinarily well together, and all that chemistry I just mentioned is 100% there. There are also many features and guest appearances here that any hip-hop fan will be familiar with, and this ranges from legends in the making like Joey Badass and Griselda's Conway the Machine, as well as set-in-stone legends of hip-hop, which are mainly here the Wu-Tang Clan's Raekwon, as well as the late great MF Doom. There's been a number of different songs where Doom has had posthumous guest appearances, but I mean, hey, no matter what, it's always nice to hear the guy pop up again. He truly was one of the most tragic losses in music within the past few years, and it just feels really cool, in all honesty, for lack of a better word, to hear him show up years after his passing. It kind of gives you a good feeling. Although it does seem inevitable that a high number of features would eventually lead to at least one or two failures in terms of performance from those featured artists, everyone that pops in to help out Black Thought and Danger Mouse with a guest verse or two is more than substantial. Even the less noteworthy appearances from people like Kid Sister and Russ are still fine for what they are, because they just get in there, do what they do, and then get out without overstaying their welcome or dragging their respective cuts down. It certainly does take a lot of talent to shine individualistically while still bouncing between each other when you have two different people put into a singular collaborative album, and that's exactly what Black Thought and Danger Mouse do here. But what's even harder than that is having enough of an ear for musical talent that you bring on board a number of different musicians that are equally as capable as you are and all willing to deliver pretty excellent verses overall, never once dragging a song down to a weaker level than it otherwise would be. There are 10 features on this 40-minute long album, and sure, some features do work better than others, but that's just how having that many features on this short of an album ends up going. That's not something you can really control, and frankly, even the weakest verses here from guest appearances are perfectly fine for what they are, and sure, the Raekwon appearance is definitely better than the Russ appearance, but that's, again, just kind of expected. I don't think anyone was expecting one to outshine the other, if you kind of get what I'm getting at here, so I think overall, the features are pretty strong. So overall, Cheat Codes was everything that a collaboration between Black Thought and Danger Mouse was meant to be, and kind of everything that I think myself and many other people were hoping for. In fact, I think it would actually be difficult to ask for a better piece of work from this particular duo. I'm going to give Cheat Codes 4.5 stars out of 5. My one take on Cheat Codes is that this album is one of the finest frontmen in hip-hop, crossing paths with one of the most talented producers of the last 30 years, with results that are predictably excellent and remarkably consistent. So again, 4.5 stars out of 5, and with that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.